Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, everybody.
Walaikum assalam.
Thank you so much for joining the meetings. Okay, so Fire Safety Management Institute presents to you unit number 9 of OTHM Level 7 Diploma in Environmental and Sustainability Management. And today is the very last session and last class and last unit of this diploma for quite a while now. So the title of this unit number 9 is Sustainability as a Business Strategy. And I am Aisha Sajjad, your trainer for today. So all of us know by now that we have 4 mandatory units and 5 optional units. And the session of today, which is on unit number 9, that is Sustainability as a Business Strategy, is about the very last unit of the optional units, which is Sustainability as a Business Strategy. Let's get started. So when we talk about unit number 9, for the convenience of the participants, the session has been divided into 5 sections. In the first section, as you can see, we will talk about why is economy and sustainability related and how is it related. Why do we talk about sustainability in connection with economy? In the section number 2, we will talk about how sustainability is related to the value chain, or how sustainability is in connection to the value chain of businesses and different corporations. Number 3 section talks about holistic accounting. Holistic means complete, entire, and wholesome accounting. So we say that businesses shouldn't only be talking about one aspect of accounting, but also should be considering a holistic accounting in their approach. Section number 4 talks about circular economy. Circular economy is a very famous terminology nowadays, and people related to sustainability and environment are very much aware of this concept. But if you're not, we will talk about it, inshallah. The section number 5 talks about how marketing is related to sustainability and how different companies and industries can use traditional approaches of marketing as well as sustainable approaches of marketing in order to promote their own business. Let's get started with the section number 1, economy versus sustainability. First of all, we say that the problem of climate change and environmental degradation and nature loss is most evident in this era. We all know that problems related to environment are becoming more prominent nowadays, and people are experiencing climate change like never before. People from every single part of the world are experiencing climate change. But we also talk about social inequality. We say that not just environmental problems have occurred, we also have social problems such as social inequality, which are in fact making this world a very difficult place to live. The environmental problems as well as social problems are making the lives of the people living on Earth difficult. So it is important that businesses talk about environmental factors as well as social factors, because it is their responsibility to shape and reshape the entire business environment and to reshape the lives of the people. It is important the businesses not just talk about their own money making only, that they also talk about how the lives of the people around them, how the lives of the people living on planet Earth can be improved when it comes to the environment, when it comes to the society, and not just the finances. So we say that businesses do not have to worry about the fact that our money making or our business, our profit generation, our revenue production will be impacted if we start considering the environmental factors. It is to be noted that environmental factors, when they are involved in the businesses, when they are used by businesses, lead to better profitability and more sustainable approaches. Even it has been seen that a lot of companies have experienced that their business or the kind of a place that they have in the market, the kind of place that they have in the entire world increased. It boosted after they're talking about the green economy, after they're talking about eco-friendly approaches, after they started mentioning that they are moving towards a more eco business. Okay, so it is evident that sustainability can also result in money making, and in fact better money making for businesses, so they don't have to worry about this. And then we say that sustainability can have a lot of positive impact on the value chain of companies. We start with the extraction of raw material, we start with the procurement of raw materials, and then companies transport those to their facilities. Manufacturing is done, and those products and services afterwards are provided to the people. They are transported to the consumers, where they are sold to the consumers, and then they are consumed by the consumers, after which they are disposed of in the form of waste. So we say that sustainability can have a lot of positive impact on the value chain of businesses. And sustainability, when talked about in the business context, is a very essential and a very fulfilling and a very beneficial context. So sustainability can be used as a business strategy by companies in 2024 and in the years to come, so that the money making, the financial benefit can be compared, and they can also be going on in relation to the environmental benefits also. For this purpose, businesses will have to move towards the holistic accounting. They will have to leave the traditional accounting behind and will have to consider environmental accounting as well. This means that when they say that our financial officers are considering how much money we made in this year, how much revenue we earned, how much loss we had, in relation to this, they also have to talk about how much impact their business had on the surrounding environment, how much degradation they caused, how much impact their factory had on the surrounding water, how much impact it had on the land, how much impact it had on the animals, on the birds. Is their factory leading to smoke creation? Is their factory leading to air and environmental pollution problems, or is it leading to water pollution problems? So it is very important that businesses now consider that their well-being is incomplete without considering the environmental well-being. So they have to say that they don't only care about themselves, but they also care about the planet. So their approach when it comes to their accounting needs to become very holistic and complete and wholesome. They should calculate their profit, but also calculate the kind of benefits their business had for the environment around them. For this purpose, one of the most important aspect is to partner with the stakeholders that you have, to collaborate with your stakeholders. You can collaborate with your internal as well as external stakeholders, because obviously when it comes to environment, everybody has to work together. You cannot be working on this solely. Obviously the biggest contribution will be from your individual company, but when you join hands with NGOs, when you join hands with your consumers, when you join hands with your other stakeholders, when you bring the government on board, when you bring the political parties on board, the results can be maximized. So in this slide, we talked about economy and sustainability. So we said that both of these concepts go hand in hand. Sustainability leads to better economy, and economy is not impacted in a bad way by sustainability. So businesses can be confident, businesses can be positive that when they include sustainability and environmental management and in eco-friendliness in their approaches, their business will be boosted, their business will not be impacted. This is one important point that I would like to raise here, that sustainability is a very holistic approach. So how many of you of the participants think that sustainability is only an environmental concept? You will have to raise your hands. How many of you think that sustainability is only an environmental concept? All right, perfect. So this means that all of you are aware of the fact that when we mention the term sustainability, it is not just an environmental concept. It is a social concept also. It is an economic concept also. It is also a concept that talks about the well-being of the people. It talks about the well-being of the society. It talks about the well-being of our finances, of our industry. It talks about economic growth. It talks about better economic opportunities. It talks about dealing with inequalities. It talks about dealing with unemployment and so many other problems related to the economy as well. So when we talk about the Sustainable Development Goals, which is one of the biggest initiatives talking about sustainability, the Sustainable Development Goals are based on three things. They are based on environment, they are based in society, and they are also based on the economy. So we say that the goal number 12, 13, 14, and 15 are majorly related to environmental things. The goal number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 11, and 16 are related to the social things. And the goal number 7, 8, 9, and 17 are related to economic well-being. So this is a beautiful concept that Sustainable Development Goals, the total of 17 Sustainable Development Goals, have been divided in a very beautiful way in three foundations, or the three bottom lines, known as the triple bottom line, that can be called as environmental, social, and economic. The pillars of Sustainable Development Goals building are environmental, social, and economic. And all of us know that a business is that any building, any infrastructure, any architecture is very weak when the foundation is weak. So we know that the foundation of SDGs talks about environment and social and economic well-being. So this is a very strong concept. So in this slide, we talked about how sustainability in regard to the Sustainable Development Goals has its triple bottom line known as environment, social, and economic. Now, a lot of people say that the foundation of sustainability are only three, but this concept has even been extended to four foundations. The addition has been done in the form of the human pillar. A lot of people join the human pillar with the social pillar, which is obvious, but we can also be talking about this separately. Okay, so the four rationales, the four bases for sustainability are social, economic, environmental, and human. This can be explained by examples that sustainability says that the society needs to have equality and equal opportunities for women, for the less privileged part, for the disabled, for people of any race, any culture, any area, any civilization, or any country. So we need to have economic opportunities for every single person. The kind of educational opportunities and platforms that we have should be equal so that the economy of the world can be boosted, so that the world can be made a better place when it comes to the economy. Sustainability also obviously talks about environmental majorly, and it also talks about the human well-being, the health, the safety, the betterment of the humans in terms of the physical aspects and also in terms of the mental health, and so many other aspects are included in sustainability. And this human aspect is also the core of this entire concept. If we're not caring about sustainability, if we are not caring about the earth, if we are not caring about the environment and how the future will be, of what the future will hold for us, who will be impacted? Obviously, the humans will be impacted. Now, another concept which is very important when we talk about sustainability as a business strategy is called corporate social responsibility. We have talked about this concept times and again, but let's talk about it again with reference to this unit. We say that businesses have a lot of responsibilities. They have social responsibilities. They have so many other responsibilities in their operations. So a corporate's social responsibility is that it balances its business with the environmental well-being. It balances its business with the social responsibilities that it has. It balances its business in such a way that no impact is left on the surrounding people, no impact is left on the society. So this balance, keeping this balance is very important. It is inevitable for businesses, and it is also very clear that in today's world, businesses that keep this balance are able to gain the maximum profit, are able to gain the best brand image. Corporate social responsibility talks about that businesses need to be very clear of impacts on society. They need to be very ethical. Their practices and activities need to be very moral and ethically correct. They should also be covering all the kinds of legal responsibilities. Their economic responsibilities when it comes to their region, when it comes to their country, are also very important. A lot of businesses only care about this part of the pyramid, but it can be seen that this hierarchy is incomplete and weak if the lower or the bottom foundations are not taken into consideration. The businesses should also be very concerned about their philanthropic responsibilities, or the responsibilities that they have towards the communities. Businesses, for example, Pepsi, and other businesses, for example, when we talk about Lifebuoy in Pakistan, it is seen through their ads that Lifebuoy has been talking about the education of girls a lot. So this is one of the examples of how businesses can involve themselves in social motives, and businesses that involve themselves in such motives are the ones that become the most famous. Talking about sustainability as a business strategy, we say that this is an entire square that talks about different kinds of capitals. Now, what are capitals? This means that when somebody opens up a company, when somebody starts a business, he wants to earn capitals. He wants to earn different kinds of capitals. There are many different kinds of capitals, such as financial capitals that talk about how much money that person will be earning, the kind of manufacturing that person will have, and the kind of intellectual abilities the business will have. This means that, for example, the intellectual capacities different companies have. For example, we know that Coca-Cola is a company that has been working since decades and is one of the most successful companies in the world. But the kind of formula that it uses for preparing Coke has never been disclosed. The formula is only known by two people, and even those two people are anonymous. Nobody knows who those two people are. Okay, so the formula for the preparation of Coke is in the hearts of two people, and those two people are anonymous. So this is a clear example of how their intellectual treasure, their intellectual property is being taken care of by Coca-Cola, and it has been decades, but Coca-Cola's formula has never been leaked. So this means that this is also a capital. Coca-Cola can say that the formula of Coke preparation is their capital, is their treasure. But besides the financial, manufacturing, and intellectual capitals, we also have many different kinds of capitals. For example, there are social capitals, you have human capitals, you have natural capitals. So this means that if a company is good when it comes to its social relationships, when a company is good when it comes to its social responsibilities, when a company takes care of its employees, takes care of the well-being of its employees at the workplace, if the employees are satisfied while working at that company, if a worker is being protected by the company in terms of medical insurance, in terms of the kind of a treatment and behavior that employee is being provided at workplace, this means that the company is successful, it is very strong, it is earning when it comes to its human capital. Okay, for example, talking about a company known as EYS in India, There is this recent case that one girl from EYS India, she lost her life because she was so much under mental pressure. She was so burdened by the company. She was not able to sleep properly. She was facing sleep deprivation. Her nerves were so under the pressure, by the pressure provided by the manager, by the pressure provided by the owner, obviously, that you have to work. She was being provided number of deadlines. She was being provided with extra burden of work. Her sleep well-being was being impacted. Her mental well-being was being impacted, and her physical well-being was being impacted. This is a very famous case from India, and it's also a very recent case that just happened in June 2024. So this girl called Anna Sebastian, she was facing multiple problems with her health. For example, her parents had to take her to the hospital because she was complaining about chest pain. She was complaining about some sort of a pressure on her chest. Afterwards, she was discharged from the hospital, and the doctors said that she's apparently fine. It's just that she needs to focus on her sleep schedule. Okay. Afterward, in June, the day that she died, she had to be taken to the hospital because she was experiencing some sort of mental problem. She was experiencing psychological difficulties, and she was also facing physical problems. After which, she died suddenly, even before arriving at the hospital. And it turned out, after multiple investigations, that she died because of the cause that she was facing a lot of pressure at the workplace. Even if she had only joined the company since 4 months. She was a chartered accountant. She was a very strong person. She was a fighter, but she died because of the kind of an ineffective and the kind of unhealthy environment that she was provided at workplace. So this means that the EYS company, even if it's creating a huge market segment, even it's a very successful company when it comes to revenue generation, even if people are buying their products or services, it can be said that it is not a successful company because of the kind of a human capital it has. When the employees are now happy with your work, when the employees are not facing a positive environment at workplace, you are losing. And then we also talk about the natural capital. The natural capital means that companies like let's talk about this famous coffee company that we have. It's called Gloria Jeans. Yes, the company says that we are using recycled materials in our cups, but it turns out that it is not true. The kind of a paper cover that it is using for its cups is being taken from Malaysian trees, and it is causing a huge amount of deforestation in that country. Okay, so apparently they are greenwashing. They're presenting a face. They're presenting sort of a facade that we are an amazing company, that we are working for the environment, but turns out that their natural capital is weak. Okay, so it can be evident that the capitals, if there are six, number 1, 2, and 3 are not the only capitals that companies need to care about. They also need to care about the 4th, 5th, and 6th capital. They also need to care about the nature, the people, and the society. Okay, talking about the kind of sustainability and the kind of approaches our businesses have, and the kind of approaches we as consumers have, there is this concept called overshoot days. Okay, so it means that, for example, we talk about 1 year. Okay, in a year there are 365 days. So we say that in this 1 year, the kind of resources that we use, for example, the kind of resources such as the renewable resources, such as the non-renewable resources, the amount of water we are using, the amount of fish that are being caught, the amount of animals that are being slaughtered, the amount of trees that are being cut, the sort of minerals that are being extracted from the world. All of these are the resources that the earth is providing to us, for example, in these 365 days, for example, in this 1 year. But the speed at which we are extracting the speed at which we are using and consuming these resources is very fast. It is expected that we will be using these resources that are provided for 365 days in 365 days. But what happens is that the earth or the people are consuming these resources much earlier than 365 days. In 2023, the resources, amount of resources that the earth was providing in 365 days were consumed by August 20. So this means that we were done. Apparently, we had finished all our resources by August 20. What about the rest of the months? What about the rest of the days? What about the September, October, November, and December? What about the rest of the days? This means that the Earth is reaching overshoot days very quickly. So, in this picture, you can also say that we are actually consuming the Earth, that means its resources, in such a fast speed that we will run out of these resources pretty soon. So every year, this overshoot day is celebrated or considered by WWF in order to give you an idea, in order to give you a vision on the kind of speed and the kind of rate of overconsumption we have. This Earth overshoot day is calculated by, for example, dividing the Earth's biocapacity or the capacity of the earth to naturally produce resources by dividing it with humanity's ecological footprint and dividing it with the 365 days of a year. So this means that the businesses as well as people, the rest of the consumers, all the countries of the world, every single person is consuming the resources of the world in such a fast speed that every year the overshoot day is reached very fast. It was reached in August in 2023. Let's see what happens in 2024. The next concept is that businesses should be very responsible. But when we talk about the business responsibilities, there are two famous approaches: the neoclassical economics and the ecocentric economics. Now, what are these two approaches? What is the difference between these two approaches? Let's watch this video to understand the difference. And if you're not able to hear the audio, you might want to see the subtitles and read them. Yes, please, Shoaib.
Yes, ma'am, it doesn't have any audio.
So I think there's some problem with the audio in Google Meet, so you will have to read the subtitles. I'm sorry. Okay, let me explain this video side by side. Okay. So in this picture, we say that neoclassical economics is an approach. This approach talks about this picture or this diagram, which is called the circular diagram, circular flow diagram. So this is how our entire economy works. This is how our macro economy works. We have firms, we have households. Firms provide what? Firms provide goods. They provide services to us, to the households. So this means that firms such as Bisconi are providing biscuits to us. Companies such as different kinds of car companies, such as Tesla, are providing cars to us. Okay, so firms are providing goods and services to the household, in return of which we are providing them with money because we are buying their goods and services. On the other side, the households are providing labor and capital to the firms. They're providing people who work from them, who work for them. They're providing money that serves as the financial capital. This is how the macroeconomics works. So circular economy is an ongoing concept. This entire circle is called a circle because it keeps going on and on. The firms are going on, the households are providing what they are providing, the firms are providing goods and services. So this entire process goes in a circular manner, it is replenishing itself in a continuous manner.
Ma'am, can you come again for the circular economy?
Circular economy, I need to explain this picture again. Okay, I'll do
Yes,
that.
ma'am.
Okay, sure. Um, okay, so we have this very simple system, apparently simple system of how the economy of the world works. So we have industries, we have firms, and then we have households. Two important entities of the economy are firms and households. What do the firms provide to the people? Firms provide goods and firms provide services. I think मैं इसको उर्दू में भी समझा सकती हूँ because we don't have anybody else from any other country. Okay, so firms हमें क्या provide करती हैं? वो हमें products provide करती हैं, वो हमें services provide करती हैं. Firms हमें कोई food products provide करती हैं, वो हमें कोई machines provide करती हैं, हमें cars लेनी है, वो firms provide करती है. और किसको provide करती हैं? Households को, यानी लोगों को, यानी हम सबको provide करती है. और household in return उनको क्या दे रहे हैं? Firms को हमसे क्या मिल रहा है? उनको हमसे money मिल रही है because हम उनसे चीजें buy कर रहे हैं. On the other side, households उनको कुछ और भी provide कर रहे हैं, which is labor. जो भी फर्म्स में काम करने वाले लोग हैं वो कहाँ से आते हैं? वो इन्हीं हाउसहोल्ड से आते हैं. हाउसहोल्ड्स वाले जब उनको पैसे प्रोवाइड करते हैं तो उसको कैपिटल कहा जा सकता है, फाइनेंशियल कैपिटल. सो वी से दैट ये सारा सिस्टम चलता रहता है. इट इज एन ऑन गोइंग प्रोसेस. एक चीज दूसरी चीज के बगैर नहीं रह सकती. फर्म्स हाउसहोल्ड्स के बगैर नहीं रह सकती हैं, हाउसहोल्ड्स का सिस्टम फर्म्स के बगैर नहीं चलता. सो दिस इज अ वेरी ऑन गोइंग प्रोसेस. इट इज अ सर्कुलर प्रोसेस. लेकिन थर्मोडायनामिक्स के प्रिंसिपल्स कहते हैं कि ऐसा एक बहुत आइडियल सिचुएशन में तो हो सकता है जब यहाँ बहुत थोड़े से लोग हों, बहुत थोड़ी सी पॉपुलेशन हो और अच्छी सी फर्म्स हो, सिचुएशन बहुत आइडियल है. लेकिन अपेरेंटली आज की दुनिया में ऐसा नहीं होता. अब इस सब का एनवायरनमेंट से क्या रिलेशनशिप है? ओके नाउ हम बात करना चाह रहे थे सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी के एस्पेक्ट से कि किस तरह इन्वायरमेंट इस सब से रिलेट करती है. अब हम इकोनॉमी और इन्वायरमेंट को आपस में रिलेशनशिप देखना चाह रहे हैं. सो वी से दैट ऑल द डिफरेंट काइंड्स ऑफ रिसोर्सेज दैट फर्म्स नीड. अब फर्म कोई भी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग करना चाहती है, जब वो कोई भी प्रोडक्ट्स बनाना चाहती है, जब एक फर्म कार्स बनाना चाहती है, उसको मेटल्स चाहिए होंगे. मेटल्स कहाँ से मिलते हैं? एनवायरमेंट से. रिसोर्सेज कहाँ से मिलते हैं? एनवायरमेंट से. फॉर एग्जाम्पल एक फर्म जो है वो फर्नीचर बनाना चाह रही है, वेयर डू द रिसोर्सेज कम फ्रॉम द एनवायरमेंट. ये जो वुड है, टिम्बर है, ये भी एनवायरमेंट से प्रोवाइड होता है. सो ऑल द रिसोर्सेज जो हाउस होल्ड को भी चाहिए और फर्म्स को भी चाहिए, वो सब एनवायरमेंट से ही प्रोवाइड किए जाते हैं. बट इन रिटर्न जो भी वेस्ट प्रोड्यूस होता है वो इन टर्न वापस एनवायरमेंट को ही दिया जाता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल ये फर्म जो भी पोल्यूटेंट्स, जो भी किसी किस्म के इफ्लुएंट्स, कोई भी लिक्विड्स रिलीज करेगी, फ्लूइड्स रिलीज करेगी, वो भी वाटर बॉडीज में ही जाएंगे. जो भी एयर पोल्यूशन के सोर्सेज हैं वो सारे के सारे एनवायरमेंट में ही जाएंगे. हाउस होल्ड भी सिमिलरली अपना वेस्ट, जब हम भी कोई ट्रैश थ्रो करते हैं, ऑल ऑफ दैट गोज आउट इन द एनवायरमेंट. सो दिस इज अ सर्कुलर प्रोसेस. दिस इज हाउ ऑल ऑफ दिस वर्क्स. ये सारा कुछ अर्थ पे हो रहा है, एनर्जी हमें प्रोवाइड की जा रही है और बहुत सारी एनर्जी और मैटर रिलीज भी हो रहा है. दिस इज व्हाट वी कॉल एज इकोलॉजिकल इकोनॉमिज्म. So we say that okay, so we say that what is the difference between these two concepts? This is a concept that mainly talks about the economy only, while the ecological concept says that not just the economy is important, the entire biosphere is important, because economy is just a small portion of the world. It is a very small subsystem of the biosphere. We need to measure the cost and the benefit that this economy can have, the kind of wastes that it is producing, the kind of a damage it is causing, because all of those wastes are going back into the environment. So if we do not consider the environment, the entire picture cannot be seen, because this world is like a very full system. We're not living in an empty world, because an empty world is a very simple system where matter is coming, energy is coming, things are going on in a very ideal manner. But actually, we're living in a full world where there is a lot of waste being produced, where there's a lot of consumption of resources. So this world can lead to the overconsumption. The resources can be depleted in a very fast way, as a result of which somebody raised a hand.
यस मैम, एक्चुअली मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है.
जी जी
ये एलसीए, लाइफ साइकिल असेसमेंट एंड सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी, इन दोनों कॉन्सेप्ट में फिर क्या फर्क आता है?
ओके, लाइफ साइकिल असेसमेंट और सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी. लाइफ साइकिल असेसमेंट इज अ प्रोसेस जिसमें हम देखना चाहते हैं कि बिजनेस किस तरह की एक्टिविटीज कर रहा है, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम द रॉ मटेरियल्स एंडिंग टू द डिस्पोजल स्टेज. सो इफ दिस बिजनेस इज नॉट रिसाइकलिंग, is not causing the recycling of its wastes, वो circular की तरफ नहीं जा रहा, so this means कि उसकी एक linear approach है. Life cycle assessment is just another approach which is used for measuring the kind of activities that an industry has. लेकिन उसकी कैसी approach है वो दो types की हो सकती हैं, एक linear or circular. So if a company is not recycling and stuff, it is having a linear economy approach. But if the company is having a circular approach, this means कि वो कोशिश कर रही है that the wastes are recycled, so that the wastes are again used as raw materials, so that ये wastes जितना time हो सके as much as possible इनको हम कोशिश करें that they remain within the system. लेकिन at a stage when these wastes cannot be used anymore, तो उनको आखिरकार हमें environment की तरफ release करना ही पड़ेगा, because recycling की भी एक हद होती है. The recycling, for example, can be done 4 times, 3 times. So after which the product cannot be recycled anymore. If there is a plastic bottle, it can be recycled to an extent. You can't just be recycling it till forever. You can not be recycling it forever. Okay. So we say that circular economy says that we should be going in a circular manner, while life cycle assessment is a very separate thing. It talks about the kind of an approach the industry has. Understood?
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, now after new classical economism and ecocentric economism. So let's say, why do we talk about this? Why did we talk about these two concepts? We said that businesses need to understand that economy is not everything. Actually, economy is just a very small part of the biosphere, which cannot be happening without the earth. When there is no earth, there are no businesses, and we don't even have a planet B. So we talk about the section number 2, which talks about the value chain of sustainability and how businesses and their value chain, their entire system needs to consider sustainability. For this purpose, we have this model known as Porter's 5 forces model. It is a very famous model which is studied in the field of economy, which is studied in the field of management, and now we're also considering this in the field of sustainability and environment. Let's understand how this model is related to sustainability. So what is this model? The Porter's 5 forces model says that whenever a business wants to understand its operations, when a business wants to understand how things will be going on, it will have to consider these 5 factors. It will have to see the kind of rivalry it has. Okay, the kind of a competition it has in the environment. It will have to see how many new entrants, many new companies can come and take their place, how they can be substituted. For example, we know that Nokia and Samsung and so many other mobile companies used to be very famous. Nokia, for example, used to be one of the most famous companies when this entire system started back in the start of the 21st century. But after that, Apple primarily has to be one of those companies that has given the toughest time to all the mobile companies. A lot of mobile companies have actually become completely non-existent. Okay, so this means that Apple came and it took over everything. It became the substitute of all other mobile companies. Samsung is obviously still successful, but the kind of a success and the kind of a place that Apple has in the market cannot be compared to any other company. So this means that a business such as Nokia had to see if it can be substituted, if it can be replaced by new people, and then it will have to see the kind of a buying power its people has. For example, when a company is producing a cereal that, for example, in terms of Pakistani rupees, costs 3,000 rupees, who would buy that cereal? So the company will have to see that if they're producing a product, what is the buying power of the people? If it is being produced for the local people of Pakistan, nobody is going to buy a cereal box that costs 3,000 rupees. Okay, so they will have to consider the buying power, the buying capacity of their people, and they also will have to see the supplier power, the kind of suppliers they have in contact. For example, the wheat suppliers, the the suppliers that are providing milk to them, the kind of suppliers that are providing water to them, what is their supplying power. So in this regard, Patagonia is a very famous example. Patagonia is basically a clothing company. It produces gears, it produces different types of clothing for different age groups. So Patagonia is a very successful company that took into consideration all of these factors. And Patagonia, for example, will have to see that if they are producing clothes, would clothing companies like Zara and clothing companies like H&M can be taking their place, or would Patagonia will be able to make place in this? So this is like a normal economic model of Porter's five forces model. But when we consider sustainability, this means that Patagonia made a very good place in the market when it started talking about sustainability. Patagonia saw the buying power of its people. It saw that since they are recycling different materials to create clothes, when it is using yarn and wool, which has been recycled, which has been used again in a circular manner, the people will be buying their clothes, even if the price is a little high, because people know that this is a sustainable product. People will know that this is an ecologically friendly product, and investing a few more pennies, investing a few more dollars in this wouldn't be bad, okay? And then also, Patagonia saw that companies like H&M and Zara and Shein and so many other companies have their own segment in the market. But the kind of a segment that it created was an entirely different one, because it was talking about recycling. It was talking about nature-friendly practices. It was creating clothing from nature-friendly materials. Therefore, even if it does not have the highest share, even if it is not the most successful company when it comes to the clothing industry, it is still having a very nice and a very handsome segment in the society, because Patagonia is using sustainable approaches. So this model can be explained by in relationship to this unit, that sustainability is that kind of a business strategy that helps you make your own very nice place in the market, just like Patagonia did. So sustainability is not something that's going to harm your money making. It will be beneficial for the success of the company. Another one is BCG metrics. So this metrics is basically the one used the most successfully in the field of economy, but it is also related to sustainability. Let's see how. So this means that on one side of the metrics, we have market growth rate, and on the other side, we have relative market share. So this means that how much growth ability, how much growth rate potential that companies have, and how much market share do they have. Companies that have a very high market share and have a very high growth rate are called as stars. The ones having a high growth rate and low market share are known as question marks. And the other one, these are called cash cows. These are called dogs. Okay. So how can this be related to companies and their sustainable approaches? Tesla is one of those companies that is using eco-friendly approaches, and it is a pioneer in this field. The electric vehicles, the EVs, the electric cars is one of those fields, is one of those places where Tesla is a pioneer. It is the one of its kind, because the kind of electric vehicles Tesla is producing, the operations have started, people have started buying electric vehicles, and all of this has just started. While other companies, many other companies related to the car companies, are still in the operation, are still in the manufacturing stages, are still thinking about doing so. But Tesla is so quick that it jumped into electric vehicles market, therefore it can be called a star. Companies like Dove, even though they have a good market share, they don't have a lot of growth, because they know that people will have to wash their faces, people will have to do something related to the skincare, so they will be buying Dove. So they don't have to put a lot of effort into it, therefore they can be called as cash cows. So companies like Ørsted is a company and that invests in windmills. It invests in renewable resources of energy, which is the future of the world, which is like the biggest step that they have taken, but they still come as question marks, because they have a high growth rate, but the kind of a market share they have right now, the kind of market share yet is not very high, so they are being considered in the question mark. Similarly, companies such as General Motors that are still using gasoline-based cars can be considered in this matrix, can be called as dogs, because they have low growth rate and low market share, because their growth is expected to decline in the future, because people are shifting to what? People are going towards Tesla. People are forgetting about General Motors, are increasingly moving towards Tesla. So therefore, they come in this BCG metric. So how is BCG metrics related to this unit? This means that companies can be using this matrix to see that sustainability will help them get into this matrix. Sustainability will help them get into the star matrix. While those companies that are not sustainable, they will be having a lot of decline in their growth as well as market share. Any questions?
No, ma'am.
Perfect. Moving on to the section 3, which talks about holistic accounting. So just like I said in the introduction, that when companies have accountants, when companies have financial managers, when companies have people who are sitting in their finance office and are calculating the kinds of returns that they had, the kind of investments that they had to put, the kind of losses in terms of finances and money that they had to face, the kind of revenue that they earned, were they successful in this year? Were they not successful when it comes to their accounting and so on? So we say that accounting does not only have to be about money. Accounting also has to be about the environment. So this accounting and measurement and management needs to be very total. It needs to be very holistic. So there's this concept known as total impact measurement and management, which talks about companies' financial performance. Not just that, it talks about a lot of other factors as well. So this can also be related to the concept of the 4, 5, and 6 capitals, that your performance is not just considered, is not just calculated, is not just measured through your finances. It is also measured through the kind of social impacts, economic impacts, tax impacts, and environmental impacts that your company is having. Because people nowadays are very active. They're increasingly moving towards businesses that are using green approaches. And the moment you make a mistake, it comes on social media, and your mistake can become viral, and it can go viral within seconds. And this can lead to a huge blow on your business. Therefore, you can't be making this mistake. Okay. Therefore, it's important that you measure and manage all of your impacts, and not just the financial impacts, not just the financial performance, because once again, money is not everything. All of your impacts, the kind of participation you are taking in the education of the people, the kind of investments that you have, the kind of taxes you are having in terms of environmental taxes, and the kind of impact you're having on the environment in terms of the land usage, the kind of impact your greenhouse gases is having, the kind of a carbon footprint you have. Every single thing needs to be measured by businesses for their success in the times to come. So sustainability is also measured, and it is also related to different standards. There are many standards, as we all know, that the ISO standards are very famous when it comes to the environment and so many other things. We know that we have ISO 4001 standard and so many other standards as well for environmental management and so on. When it comes to sustainability for businesses, there are standards of sustainability reporting, such as the GRI standard, which is for Global Reporting Framework. This is a standard that allows companies to provide an insight into kind of financial as well as sustainability initiatives that they have been having in a specific period. The CDP standard is also another standard that talks about the kind of carbon footprint your company had, the amount of carbon dioxide emissions you've been having, the kind of practices you've been having to remove those carbon dioxide gases and other greenhouse gases, the kind of sinks that you have been creating and so on. This can be reported to the CDP. And then we have the International Sustainability Standards Board that talks about how sustainability and other initiatives are being provided for companies that want to excel in their businesses. Similarly, for the European Union, we have the Sustainable Finance Disclosure Regulation, which not just talks about the finance, it also talks about the economy and the environment. it talks about the environment as well. Okay, so sustainability reporting, we have many websites, we have many awards, we have many competitions going on. I know this is a surprising fact that where in the world of celebrity awards and TV show awards only, we also have sustainability awards. Okay, so this might be something entirely new for you, but sustainability awards are also happening in the world in real time. For example, we have the CII ITC Sustainability Awards of 2023, that are still open. Companies and industries that want to show that they are sustainable, that companies that want to show that they are moving towards a more eco-friendly work nature can apply in this award. And when the award comes out, they can win this prize. And guess what can they use this award for? They can use it to brag about all the kind of environmental activities that they are indulging in. They can brag about how their company is the best when it comes to the environment, and what is the benefit that they can be having in return. Okay, I want you guys to participate and tell me, how would this award be beneficial for a company that wins it? Anybody? For example, a company participates in these sustainability awards, and then that company wins the first place in that sustainability awards, and it earns this trophy. What benefit would it have for that company? Okay, so this is important because by earning a better brand reputation, by earning a better reputation when it comes to their sustainability efforts, they can brag about it. They can tell to customers that we are the most sustainable company, therefore buy from them. Their revenues can be increased. The kind of a sustainability positioning that they have in the world can be improved by these sustainability awards. Similarly, we have another platforms which is called the corporate knights. They have this entire website on which companies and corporations can apply. So this is a ranking which they provide every single year. So they have this ranking which is called the Global 100. 100 companies are rated every year by corporate knights, telling that this company is number one when it comes to sustainability, this company is number two, and so on until number 100. So it provides this global 100 reporting every single year. So for the year 2024, they have this one. For the year 2023, 22, and so on. So they have it for every single year. So if we look at the sustainability reporting of the year 2024, let's see which company was the first in ranking. So there's this company called Sims Limited from Muscat, and is also based in Australia, which is basically a waste management company. It was seen that this company had the best carbon productivity, and it has the best average, it has the best social participation, it has the best gender diverse board, it was the best when it comes to worker pay ratio. So this means that it was the best to its employees, it was paying all the taxes, it was the most sustainable, and so on. So in every single aspect, not just the economic aspect, not just the environmental impact, in social aspect, how it is behaving to its employees, how it's behaving to its workers. Sims Limited is the first company that has come on the 2024 ranking. Number two, we have Brambles, which is a furniture and general manufacturing company based in Sydney, Australia. Okay, sorry. So Sims is not based in Muscat. It's Mascot, which is a part of Australia. Number three, we have the Vestas Wind Systems, which is based in Denmark. Number four, we have Taiwan High-Speed Rail System, which is based in Taiwan, of course. And this is how companies can win places on the sustainability awards, and they can earn a better reputation. Section number 4 talks about circular economy. So obviously, I've been talking about it already, but let's talk about it in a little bit of details. So waste is the basic picture from where the concept of circular economy starts. So waste hierarchy says that we need to reduce as much as possible. We need to reduce our waste as much as possible. We need to use as less products, as less things as possible, so that the waste can be minimized. If there is any product, obviously we've been using a number of products, we can reuse them. We can reuse them again and again. For example, let's take the example of clothes that we wear. So we need to make sure that we reduce the number of clothes that we wear as much as possible, because it is actually humanly possible that we spend the entire season in about 5 pieces of suits. Okay, this is possible. We can rewash them. Obviously, this is what washing machines are for. We can be using those clothes again and again. We don't have to fill our entire wardrobe for the entire season. We can do with just a few pieces of clothes also. They can help us spend the entire season. So we need to reduce the amount of clothes that we use, the clothes that we have after we are done using them and we don't want to wear them anymore. We can be reusing them. We can be, of course, donating them to our house helps and so on. And then we can also be recycling. We can be sending them to the recycling companies. For example, there is this girl from Pakistan, Peshawar, who has been using different worn out clothing items to make beautiful jackets. So she uses those items, those fragments of items, to make something new. She makes, all of us have seen that our mothers used to use old denim jackets or old denim pants to make beautiful grocery bags, tote bags, that they used to use when they had to go for vegetable shopping and so on. So these can be recycled. And then the clothes that we have can also be recovered. But after we are done doing all of that and there's no option left, we will have to dispose those clothes off. But this has to be the smallest. This should be the smallest and the only last option. So we need to do as much as possible that we can to reduce the kind of waste, because waste costs are not just in terms of the money that we have to spend in dealing with that waste. It comes also in terms of a lot of hidden costs, the costs that we do not see. The kind of visible costs are just the tip of the iceberg. The reality is also there. It is also there, but it is in terms of the submerged costs. For example, there's this saying that when we throw out food, we don't just waste a meal. Okay, when we throw out food, we are not just wasting the food. We are wasting all the water and all the energy and all the efforts and all the resources that were used into producing that waste. So this means that throwing away food is not just about throwing it. It's about all the resources that we have caused to waste. What are the different hidden costs of waste? So businesses need to consider that when they create a lot of waste, there are many direct costs, obviously, that they will have to spend money on disposal. They will have to spend money on recycling. They will have to spend on transport. They will have to spend on energy that will be used for recycling that waste, for treating that waste in the landfills and so on. And then there are hidden costs. There are indirect costs, such as the raw material waste, the labor that will have to do that will have to deal with that waste, the inefficiency that we have caused, the materials that we have lost, how the market has been missed, how a lot of opportunities have been missed by us. And then we also might have to face penalties and taxes and waste permits and fines. Money goes in this as well. And then not just money, the reputation can also be impacted. Our brand image and the kind of a share and segment we have in the market can also be impacted, because we are creating a lot of waste. For example, companies like Unilever are creating the biggest amount of waste, and that waste surprisingly is being sent to smaller countries such as Pakistan. And then another aspect is that you will have to invest in research and development and circularity investment that also requires money. So why not go back to the first stage of hierarchy and reduce it in the first place, so that we don't have to spend this much? Then how do we calculate the waste impact? If there is a business that wants to calculate its waste costs, It can see the disposal fees that it will have to pay, the transportation cost, the labor cost, the raw material wastage cost, and the recyclables. For example, the kind of money that it had to put into recycling, and then calculate those by adding all of those. And this is how you calculate the true cost of waste. Why is circularity so important for our present and our future? So we say that in the past, this is where this entire picture of environmental degradation, mostly the entire picture of environmental degradation and climate change started. What does this depict? This depicts industrial revolution that led to a lot of companies and industries being established, that led to more activities that caused us to use fossil fuels, as a result of which in the 20th century, we led to the usage, the highest amount of usage of fossil fuels, as a result of which the 21st century is the one where we are critically leading towards the depletion of environmental resources. This is when our resources are just on the brink of its ending, and it is important that we consider that these resources will not be available, that might not be available for the future generations. So let's do something about it. So in the 21st century, because of the digital revolution, again, for example, because of the greatest amount of chips and the greatest amount of circuits that you have to produce for environmental electronic products, you have to extract a lot of minerals and metals from the earth, which also means that the resources are depleting. So all of this, our past is full of mistakes that have led to environmental degradation. So why do we need to consider this in the future? This is like an entire picture of the future for us. We know that our fossil fuels will come to an end. The minerals and metals that we are extracting at such a high rate also will be coming to an end. The kind of water resources that we have, and it is also a very evident picture even today that a lot of areas in the world are not able to get fresh water resources. Therefore, the water will be impacted, and it might also be, God forbid, coming to an end, because it is a non-renewable resource of energy of the earth. And then climate change is one of the biggest problems that we are experiencing today, and it might just get very extreme in the future. The food resources are also coming to an end. The kind of agricultural practices we had in the past, and the number of population we had, the food resources were available to everybody. But we know that as the time progresses, as the time goes on, we will be left behind in this race, and we will have to we will be not available with a lot of food resources. We will not be available with a lot of land. And then we know that a lot of geopolitical tensions are also leading us to move towards circularity. And what is the only option we have? The only option we have is to use the renewable resources, the greener resources of energy, such as solar, geothermal, and wind energy. Circularity is something that businesses need to consider, because it will lead them to have a lot of benefits, such as they can produce better products, their production will be increased, production times will be increased, they will not have to go in the loop again and again. The impacts that they will have on the environment will be reduced, the cost will be reduced, their image in the market will be increased, and so on. What is circular economy? This is evident from this picture, which is called as butterfly diagram. So a butterfly diagram is the one that says that, for example, this is the value chain that we have. We had raw materials, we moved towards production, we talked about distribution, then we used those resources, and then we collected the waste. What do we do now? We can move towards biological approaches as well as technical approaches. We can use processes such as biochemical extraction, anaerobic digestion, and regeneration that will lead again to using those resources as raw materials, using those waste as raw materials. Similarly, technical processes such as reusing them, remanufacturing them, or sharing them with other companies, or recycling them can also lead to a circular system. If, for example, we just remove this part of the diagram and also remove this part of the diagram, what are we left with? We are just left with this one. This means that this is a linear system that goes in the form of a line. This is not a sustainable system because it is leading to a lot of waste and a lot of negative impacts for the earth. So what can the people do? They can move towards a circular system, which means that we need to reuse and remanufacture those resources, regenerate those wastes again and again to move towards circularity, which is going to be in our own benefit. Now, the section number 5 talks about marketing. This means that sustainability, of course, is related to marketing, because businesses use marketing obviously all the time. They have to put a lot of billboards, they have to use a lot of television ads, they have to use a lot of social media ads in order to let people know that they are producing this product. For example, a company comes up with a new soap, they will have to put on ad in marketing so that people know that this soap is in the market. But how else are we able to know about it? But marketing also comes in different forms. For example, marketing can also talks about how we are using renewable resources of energy, how company is recycling, how they are using sustainable agriculture and food, how they are promoting green building and construction, how they are promoting electric vehicles, and how they are using circularity in their business. So this means that marketing can be done related to these market segments to promote sustainability and the growth of your business. The marketing can be of many different kinds. For example, in relation to the environment and sustainability, there is this term known as cause-related marketing and social marketing. So cause-related marketing means that your marketing is not just for your own money. It is not just to promote your own product. It is so that you talk about a specific cause. It is for a specific purpose in the society. For example, in this picture, you can see that people can be talking about how to promote the protection of biodiversity, how to prevent climate change, how to promote recycling, how to promote better mental health and entertainment facilities for the people, how to talk about better research and development, how to talk about better opportunities and equality and better inclusion in the society, how to have better practices when it comes to manufacturing, and so on. So you can have a specific cause in your mind and use that in marketing, that in return will also have better impacts for your finances. For example, there is this billboard by a company which is a motor company, which shows that overspeeding and tailgating is not a very beneficial thing. For example, overspeeding can lead to a lot of accidents. So what is evident from this picture is that in this billboard, they are talking about their product, but they're also at the same time talking about a social message. So social messages are a lot of times provided by companies. And this company, for example, Estee Lauder, which is basically a cosmetic company, it used this pink color campaign to talk about the breast cancer awareness. But I also read this somewhere in a meme that instead of putting pink ribbons this year, companies, in order to spread breast awareness, they use pink ribbons, right? So instead of putting pink ribbons, what companies can also use is can also do is to stop putting carcinogens or cancer-causing materials in their products. This is a very ironical situation, which shows that companies, they themselves use carcinogenic and cancer-causing materials in their products that lead to increased cases in the population, and then they talk about cancer awareness. This is very ironical and funny. So instead of investing in pink ribbons and breast cancer campaigns, why not avoid using carcinogenic materials? But they wouldn't do that because all they care about is money. And then there is this ad which was used in social media, not by Head and Shoulders, but by environmental activists, that Head and Shoulders, which greenwashes and says that it is an ecologically friendly company, actually, it is leading to a lot of deforestation in countries like Indonesia, and it is also leading to a lot of forest destruction. So this ad shows that I don't want forest destruction in my shower. I don't want that the shampoo or the product that I am using is leading to so much impact on the environment. This shows that the consumers are becoming extremely aware of the situation also. So your marketing could be related to a purpose. It could also be related to a social message or the social well-being of the society. In this graph, you can see who is responsible for the climate crisis. So this was on social media. This was on Instagram. There is this page called Comments that says that Shell is the single biggest company that is leading to the biggest contribution of greenhouse gases, followed by Chevron, followed by British Petroleum, followed by ExxonMobil, and then comes the company Saudi Aramco. Anybody from the participants ever worked for or is working for Saudi Aramco?
No, but still not. I wish to work with Saudi Aramco.
Where do you work then?
Right now, I'm working in a Red Sea Global project at Saudi Arabia.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So Saudi Aramco, as we know that a lot of my participants might be from the Gulf, from the Saudi country. So Aramco is one of the most famous countries, and it is, I think, the 7th biggest contributor of oil production in the world, but it is also a huge contributor of greenhouse gases. So this is a very serious picture that shows us that a lot of companies that we are greatly depending on, such as Shell and Chevron and Saudi Aramco, are also causing the biggest impact on the environment. This means that we as consumers also need to be very careful about who we choose or about who we buy and the kind of products that we use. For example, related to the genocide that Israel is causing in Palestine, all of us led to this boycott, which is primarily working and not working at the same time. It depends on the individuals, but the consumers, when they stand together for something, they can lead to a huge change. So we also need to be very ethical. We also need to see that companies that are using sustainable approaches are the ones that we need to prefer, and the ones that are leading to harms on the environment should be ignored. Why? Because this comes in a loop. All of this is coming in a circular manner, because the impact that these companies are having on the environment is going to impact us. It is going to impact you, me, and our future generations in the future. Okay, so it is time that we shift from being consumers to being caretakers, because all we care about is how much products we have on our tables, the kind of a food that we are having on our dining tables, or the kind of products that we are using, the kind of clothes that we are wearing, the kind of vehicles that we are using. What we don't care about is the environment, because this is where we need to get up and act as caretakers of this planet, because our well-being is directly related to the well-being of the planet. Okay, now companies who want to act as sustainable companies need to collaborate with NGOs, with different stakeholders. How can they do that? Why do they do that? Because if they collaborate with different companies, if they join hands with the NGOs, if they join hands with every single person who is connected to them, their operation or their motives can even become stronger. So they need to identify, first of all, the goals that they have. They will bring all the stakeholders on the table and tell them that this is what I want to do. This is how I want my company to go eco-friendly. This is how I want my company to have sustainable practices in the future, because I don't want to keep leading to harms on the planet. You need to communicate. You will have to talk to them. You will have to bring them in confidence. This is how it works. And then you will have to share resources with them, the kind of and the kind of educational resource, the kind of a knowledge you have, the kind of the financial resources you have will have to be shared with them. You will have to partner with them, and you will have to assess the impact. You will have to talk about the impacts you had in the past and the impacts you are likely to have in the future. All of those need to be assessed, managed, and measured so that all of us together work on this. So, for example, company that is Coca-Cola, which calls itself apparently a very sustainable company, it partnered with WWF. What did they talk about? They talked about the welfare of the polar bears, of the Arctic bears, and they said that since our practices are leading to a lot of waste, the practices of every single person today is leading to a lot of waste. It is leading to a lot of greenhouse gas emissions, which is leading to greenhouse gas effect, which is causing climate change. That in return is leading to increase in the global temperature, which is causing the melting of the glaciers and the melting of the ice in Arctic, which is impacting the lives of these bears. Therefore, by investing in sustainable practices, by promoting recycling and less amount of waste that goes in the seas and the oceans, will not it directly will have better impacts on the lives of these bears. Okay, so this is what the campaign was about. Coca-Cola partnered with an NGO, which is basically a philanthropic company, WWF, and they talked about the betterment of the planet in terms of the betterment of the bears, which is evident from this ad. Okay, so by the end, I would like to read this out for you guys, that when the last tree has been cut down, the last river poisoned, the last fish caught, only then we will realize we can't eat money. So we know that all the resources that we do not care about are the ones that will lead to our betterment. And once we are done using all of these resources, once we are done cutting all the trees, once we are done poisoning and leading to releasing effluents in the water, once we are done with catching all the fish in the world, only then would we be able to understand that something that we were always focusing on, something that we only focused on, that is money, is not something we can't eat. All right. So since we come to the end of the unit, now comes the assessment preparation guidelines. So you will have to create a report of 4,500 words in Word format with referencing, that is Harvard referencing, which should be in text. So students always forget this. They forget putting in text citations. So it is important that you put in text citations as well as end text citations in the form of the referencing list. And then what is this assessment about? It says that you will have to consider a scenario in mind that companies, just like I said, that there are a lot of companies that are using lists or ranking of companies. There is this company called Dow Jones that also publishes the ranking of companies when it comes to sustainability. Okay, so you will have to see that your company, you are working as a PR intern for a company which has been listed on the Dow Jones, and you will have to talk about their recommendations. You will have to provide national as well as international policy recommendations to them. You will have to tell them how their sustainability efforts can be made better, how they can have better partnerships with NGOs, how they can have better circular practices, how they can have better low carbon economy. In fact, all the points that we talked about in this unit can be considered for this company. And then you will have to answer all the questions that you have in the learning outcomes, and then you will come up with this report. And this is how we end this session. And do you guys have any questions? All right. Thank you so much for participating and thank you for your kind attendance, everybody. This was the last session of this diploma. Good luck to all of you. May Allah be with all of you and with everybody, with all of us. Thank you so much for attending. Allah Hafiz.